So we are back with a brand new episode of Walkin and Talkin with Tim. This is episode 102. And listen, my guest today is Joan Dillon, who is the Executive Director for Glassboro, the Glassboro Child Development Center.
That's right.
I got it right.
You got it.
She was worried. I kept saying Gloucester County. I'm like, I don't know. What do you know? I'm getting old, you know, hard to remember things. Anyway, so listen, let's get right into the Glassboro Child Development Center and what you guys do. You told me that it started in 1969.
Yes.
Out of pure need because, you know, moms didn't know what to do with their kids when they went to work, particularly the little ones.
That's right. So in 1969, a lot of women weren't working. Head Start started that year, and a group of local community members and the churches had this great idea that children needed to be in a safe and quality environment, and so they got together and established Glassboro Child Development Center. See
that? I was born in '68, so I might have been one of them kids. I don't know.
Well, I always say it's kind of cool because in 1969, I was 4 years old.
There you go.
So I could have been one of those first graduating kids at our center.
Absolutely. But more important, there's other things that you guys do. You told me that the stats that you just went over.
Yep. So you mean now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now our humble little child development center has sort of turned in and evolved over the years into a multifaceted agency that helps families with children of all ages. So we started out with sort of that preschool age, 3 to 5, and we noticed immediately, well, I shouldn't say immediately, but sometime in the 80s, somebody said, but what about the babies? You know, parents have to go to work sooner than when the kids turn 3.
That's a harder thing to do.
Absolutely hard to part with them, and so trust is really important. And we serve infants as young as 6 weeks.
Wow.
6 weeks of age, all the way now, we have this really robust school age program. So kids in pre-K, kindergarten, all the way up to 8th grade, year round. So we're there in the summertime as well, full time.
That's a lot of kids and it's impressive.
We serve about 230 kids in our school age programs, and right now we serve about 50 students in our early childhood center.
Right, and you wanted to talk a little bit about what's important about what you're doing as far as community involvement goes. So talk a little bit about that. Like, what do you need, you know, from the folks that are out there, and how can people help you and help your mission?
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot of gaps in child care, right? So the Glassboro Child Development Center's mission is to provide programs and enrichment so that kids have a really great, successful development, and also that their parents have resources. A lot of people want to know.
Hard to find.
It is. So, right, and I talked before in other forums about this, like if you can find childcare, because Gloucester County in our area is a childcare desert.
Yeah.
So that just means there's not enough spaces for the kids who need the care.
I didn't know that.
But once you find it, it's hard to afford.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Infant care is extremely expensive.
Any child care is expensive, right?
Yeah. You pay less money to send your 18-year-old to Rowan University the first year.
Everybody's making less money and they're paying more money for all the things they can't afford, right? It's crazy.
Yep. And so a lot of our families are low income.
Right.
But a lot of our families also kind of are not described as low income. They're sort of middle income working families. And we call those families ALICE. That ALICE term means asset limited, income constrained employed. And so growing up, I was ALICE. I had 4 kids. My husband and I got no subsidized assistance. We made too much money to qualify for anything.
But you paid for everything.
We did. But we work hard, right? And our families work hard, and they still are scraping by to make ends meet. They might not be able to take their kids on a vacation.
Right.
So what we try to do now is figure out ways to fill gaps so that families can afford childcare.
Right.
And not for free, but
just affordable.
Yeah, and so because we're a nonprofit, fortunately I can apply for grants, and those grants help to subsidize the cost of that care. So instead of a family paying $300 a week for childcare, maybe they pay $200 a week.
Right.
It's not a handout, it's a hand up.
There you go.
So that's how people can help, is to, you know, just understand that concept and share resources, share networking, so that we can
know who you are.
That's right.
You know, donate, right? They can donate to your charity, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sure. And
it's on our website. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll get it at the end. So listen, so let's talk about you a little bit. So you told me that you're, not only you, but your parents grew up in Camden.
Yes,
right?
I'm a Camden girl.
She's a Camden girl. Listen, so you told me that your dad was a firefighter.
Yes.
And your mom ended up being like a teacher's aide, right?
Yeah, a paraprofessional in the Camden schools.
There you go. So, but you grew up there too.
I did.
You didn't move out to the valley behind us here until what? You were what? How old?
I was 15, 1980. I was actually a sophomore in high school, and actually the Camden school system, I'm a product of that. I earned a scholarship to a private school for my freshman and my sophomore years. But eventually that scholarship went away and I ended up in public school, but I think I turned out just great.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, there you go.
So the year after that, guess what? The year after that, I met this woman and her two sisters at Ocean View Campground, because we were all seasonals, right? Every summer.
Yep.
And I think we were just talking, I think I was like 12 and you were like 16 or 17 or whatever. It's crazy, right? I mean, how crazy is it? It's that long ago, right?
Yeah, and then we won't talk about, well, you just told them the date, but 30 years later, you know, we see each other at an event and we're like, hey, wait a minute. Aren't you little Timmy Jennings?
I was little too, actually.
He was.
I was a tiny little dude. So, but you know, it's funny. And you know, and I really kind of hung out more with your sister, Becky.
Yes.
And we got to know each other pretty well. And Donnie a little bit more, because you know they were more in my age range. But so that's pretty cool that, you know, you get to come full circle and do something like that. But you, I think because of that, because you were a camper, or you're not even a glamper, we were camping.
We were, well, I mean,
we camped.
I slept in a tent.
So did I.
We had a camper, but the kids slept in a tent.
I was not allowed in the trailer either. We had
That's
a tent,
right.
and that was it. It was
with
hot
no
as,
bathroom.
It was hot as hell.
You had to take the flashlight to find the bathhouse.
And when it was really hot, you snuck out and went to the lake and went for a swim, because it was really hot. I mean, we're talking 90 degrees in a tent.
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
So enough of that. It was a lot of fun, and great memories there. But it was cool stuff. But you know, I want to lead right into talking about, you've been married for 28 years to a great guy, Randy.
Yes.
Who Randy, you said Randy was in the Navy. You said Randy
was in the Army.
Army. Oh,
yes,
Army. In the Navy.
My first husband was in the Navy.
Oh, okay. So
that's okay. You listened.
I did. I am listening. I get bits and pieces.
Yeah, there you go.
So Randy was in the Army.
Yes.
And now Randy does construction, right?
Yes, part-time.
Part-time.
Yes.
He's got some limitations, but he's doing construction.
He's doing most of the construction at my house.
I saw the deck you built for
right?
Lisa across the street. Looks great, man. Excellent job. So you got that going on, and then you're talking about the fact that you have 9 grandchildren.
I do.
So what do they call you?
Me Mom.
You know what?
I
was going to guess that.
Were you?
I was going to guess that, because I was kidding and called you grandma back there, but I was going to ask you, and I was thinking, I bet it's Me Mom.
Yeah, I am Me Mom.
Me Mom.
M-E-M-O-M.
Because you're the cool grandma.
I am.
So you just told me the story about taking one of your granddaughters on a trip, on a road trip.
Yes.
So Joan loves road trips. Tell them why you love road trips.
Well.
And tell them the story about your granddaughter.
So, which story do you want first? I like road trips.
I like the Virginia trip.
Yeah. So road trips are fun because, first of all, I hate flying.
I
will fly. I will fly, but I hate flying. I prefer, if I can drive it, I'm driving it.
Yep.
You miss so much with I like planning. I'm a list maker, I'm a planner. So anytime we go somewhere, I've got the whole itinerary. I have a special book for road trips. But and my kids,
it's not an atlas.
Right, right. No, but it's just this, if we're going through here, we must stop here.
Right.
So
That's cool.
I've seen waterfalls, I've seen old you know, turn of the century general stores that still sell ice cream for $1 kind of thing, all across the country. So I have a friend, actually I didn't tell you this, but I have a friend, a long-term friend who lives far away, who she also has a very similar story to me with her children. We both have 4 children. I think she has 8 grandchildren though, not 9. But they're all about the same age, and she decided when they turned 5, she was going to take them on a special trip. But she takes their parent with them as well, for obvious reasons, right? I decided I couldn't do that when I heard this fabulous idea, because a lot of my grandchildren are already 5.
Right.
So I decided this year that when they turn 13, they get to pick a special
I love this idea.
Event.
This is awesome.
And so last week, we just got back. She wanted to see, she's a soccer player, and she wanted to see her favorite soccer player in the women's U.S. team, national women's team, play in the She Believes Cup in Atlanta, Georgia. So we took a road trip. And her other grandmother lives in Virginia Beach, so I needed a place to stop, and I thought that would be cool if she could go there and spend the day with her other grandma.
Right.
And then they came back and we had a lot of fun. It was just me and her, and it's stuff she's going to remember.
But the key was, what'd she say?
She said to me, I'm so glad we didn't fly, because I wouldn't have gotten to see all this really cool stuff.
And that's the cool stuff.
Right, right. And I thought, oh, so maybe I am the cool grandma.
You are the cool grandma,
yeah.
And that's why you're the road trip girl.
I am.
Right?
I love a road trip.
It makes sense though. I mean, and see, so not everybody can do a road trip and make it fun. Not everybody can pull it off, and you did it, and you know you did it because of what your granddaughter said, right?
Right.
And that, to me, that's like the coolest thing ever, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool stuff.
Because 13's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to impress a 13-year-old.
You also said that you and Randy are a blended family. You did say you have 4 kids.
Yep.
So you got a lot going on there too, right?
Yeah, I mean, things are much easier now, right? But when we met,
the nest is empty.
It is empty. When we met, he had a 3-year-old and an 11-month-old, and I had a 3-year-old. And it just worked out. And we have been together since then. Several years later, we wanted to add to our family, and so we have his, mine, and ours. So we have Keenan, Amber, Leslie, and Austin.
Wow. And
Austin's not responsible for any of those grandchildren, but the other 3 combined have 9.
So the last thing I want to ask you about is coaching.
Yep.
Is being coached, being coachable, and coaching other people. And I know this is really important to you, so tell the world what you think about being coached and coaching others.
So I realized several years ago that I was managed. I've always this alpha personality, right? I've always been in charge. I've always well, I have to remind myself to be quiet and listen twice as much as I talk. But my thing is, I realized through workshops I was going to, through seminars, that I was not leading, I was managing. And so I entered this coaching program on how to develop leaders, right? And that's really what I wanted to do. I'm nowhere near retirement right now, I hope. I love what I'm doing.
Me either.
It's fun. But I want to make sure that when it is time for me to move on to something else, that, especially with the nonprofit, with the agency, that things are in good hands.
So if people want to get a hold of you and help you out, how do they do that?
Yeah, so Glassboro Child Development Center is a mouthful, right? So we actually, our website is easy to remember. It doesn't say Glassboro Child Development Centers. It's southjerseykids.org. Southjerseykids.org, you got that? Yeah, southjerseykids.org. Just go to the website and there's a contact tab. You can send me a message there, or you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn.
There you go. All right, so there you go. So that you know how to find Joan, go find her. And listen, thanks for watching. Keep on walking, keep on moving. Follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and you know what? Most of all, YouTube. And we will see you next time on Walkin' and Talkin' with Tim. Peace.